So I want to introduce this video really quick. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how I create a table for my monthly budget tracker. I've been using this tracker for over a decade now. I found it's very useful for me, but I want to be really clear. I'm not a financial expert. I just tend to be a little bit savvy, and I probably know enough to be dangerous. The use of this tracker, this monthly budget tracker, is not a daily something I would use daily, but it's more something I set up at the beginning of the year, and I visit periodically throughout the year to see if there's been anything that's changed. So I'm basically looking at what is my income coming in, what are the things that I'm spending, what are my bills, and then how much do I have left over. And so this is something that I'll just kind of check in with periodically and see if anything has changed and if I need to make any adjustments. I just find it's a really good guidepost for me, or a really good baseline to kind of make sure that I'm meeting all the financial goals that I have. So the last thing I want to say is I am doing this as a layout for inside the planner, but you can also create an Excel sheet to be set up exactly like this. So let me know if you have any questions, and I hope this is helpful. All right, so I'm going to walk through how I create a budget table for my bullet journal. Let me be really clear, I'm not a financial expert, but this is just the way of organizing the information in this way is the way I have found it to be useful for me over the past decade. Also note, you can put this table into an Excel sheet if you really want with formulas. So that's another way to kind of use this setup. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that I have my title box. So I'm counted over, I think it was about 11 squares on each side. And then what I'm going to do is I'm using both pages, so facing pages of the Moleskine notebook. And so what I'm going to have is a bar across the top that is about the income in a month. And then we're going to have another section a table that lists reoccurring or predictable expenses. So what I'm doing is leaving 2 spaces at the top, more for the titles of each column. And then I'm also going to leave another 2 spaces at the bottom of this table for the total. So you'll see exactly how this is going to look in 1 second. Right, so this is the income table. So here I'm going to put monthly budget. That's monthly income. This is the total, the amount. And then I like to have an area for notes because sometimes things change and I want to document that. So I recommend, obviously, the headers of the columns obviously could be in pen, but everything else I do in pencil when it comes to money for the most part, especially when it comes to the amounts or the notes. So I'm going to write paycheck 1, and then paycheck 2, assuming you're so lucky to have 1 or 2. And I'm going to put some arbitrary amounts in here. So I'm just going to put 3,000 here. Let's say that's the monthly income of one of these. And then let's say this one is 2,500, which equals a total of 5,500 a month. So in theory, let's just pretend after taxes and all the deductions, that's what you have. And that's the income. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop down here and draw another table, and this one's going to include expenses that are predictable and reoccurring each month. I'm going to allow some space for the headings. All right, so now I'm going to trace this with my marker. All right, so headings for this one are going to be, just write the item, the amount, due date, and then notes. I forgot to put this line down here. Let me do that really quick. And so hypothetically, I'm going to use marker just so that it is easier to see. Let's say you have savings each month. Say you have 200 to goes there. Let's say rent / mortgage payment. Let's say that's 1,400. Say you have your cell phone. Let's say that's like, I don't know, 220. Because you have a lot of people on there. Car insurance. 108. Say that's $8. Say you have a car payment. Say that's like $225. Let's see, how about internet? I'm gonna say 90, but I doubt it's that cheap. Netflix, I think that's like $18. Food, so you have a food budget of say like 600. Here's the total. I think this is around $28.76 of monthly expenses. And then of course I would write in the due dates if I know them and any notes. But I'm going to add another table down here because I want to see, okay, so this is my amount coming in every month. I want to know, okay, what is this minus this? So what is my, I guess, quote unquote, free money after I've paid for all of my budgeted expenses? So I'm going to add a little table for that. Trace it really quick. That is my cat you hear. We have kittens and they're very needy. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I put after budgeted expenses. And then here I put amount left over. And in theory, once you subtract $28.76 from $5,500, you get $2,624. And again, I would do this in pencil, but this is just helpful for me because to revisit this, you know, every few months to see if things have changed. Has my spending gone up? Has our bills gone down? Has this number adjusted? And it just kind of gives me this eyeball of really kind of just being able to say, okay, what's my situation? Like, am I in dire straits or am I doing okay? Then I'm going to use this page over here. And I use another table to capture the things that aren't monthly. So the things like annual plates for a vehicle or Amazon Prime membership, I think that's on an annual basis, or even annual subscriptions that I want to keep track of. So I'm going to start that on this other page over here. So again, I'm going to do a title box. All right, so I'm going to put other expenses here. And in finishing this, I would probably be coloring in the tops of my columns here just to kind of make them stand out. I'd probably use a colored pencil to do that. So I'm going to write the expense, the amount, the due date, and then notes. So let's just say car plates. I hate it when these things like sneak up and bite me. So I like to have an idea. So what I will typically do is write the amount that I paid last year and just document that, and then understand that it's probably either around or less than that usually. And I'll usually I'll write a month versus the actual date unless I know the date. I'm also gonna just add Amazon Prime as an example. I think it's $90, I don't know. Say November, you know, and then maybe there's an annual subscription to something in the whatever month that will hit. And so then you can make as many rows as you need to. So this is the place where I capture those quarterly, annual items, just because I don't want them to sneak up on me. This is just in summary, this is something that I revisit every few months. I do try to do most of it in pencil, just so that I can erase things when things change. When I'm thinking about amounts, you know, obviously rent is usually the same every month, but sometimes the electric bill, for example, can, you know, vary and go up and down. And so I always just kind of write what I think it's going to be, or about the average. And that just gives me a ballpark of what I'm dealing with to be able to handle other things. And obviously I'm using a very modest list. I'm sure this is like a way shorter list than most people's bills. But anyway, you get the point. I hope this table is helpful to you. If you have any questions, please let me know.